We're here to facilitate. I anticipate after the meeting to select some people to get a committee together to choose the best alternative and what it's going to take to do. We would like to meet again on April 16th, which is also a commissioner meeting night, same time, same place, to discuss what the committee has come up with, what their investigation has come up with. And I'll go back a little bit in that we don't want to talk about certain things that have happened. I know there's been a dog issue in Pedricktown, someone got bit. It's better to leave that out. The discussion is for animal control and what the municipalities can do. If we get to those issues or you bring those issues up, this is a public meeting, it gets recorded, and if there's happens to be a lawsuit, all this is recorded. It's better just to leave it done and leave it unsaid. Like I said, the purpose of the meeting is to come up with some ideas on this. We realize the municipalities, not all of them, but most of them have a problem with animal control. That being said, it brought up to my attention that some of these municipalities, that I doubt it will happen in our county, we have a wonderful county, but they're going to start taking their dogs and dropping them off to the places that don't have an animal control problem. So that's a terrible thing to say, but let's realize that this is a countywide issue. Even if you don't have a problem, we need to be all friends and neighbors in this county. And it's hard to get to that spot. And it's been told me when you're up there butting alligators, it's hard to remember that the purpose was to drain the swamp. So let's keep our eyes on what we're trying to do and trying to get every municipality to have an animal control facility available to everyone. That being said, anyone like to speak? We're looking for suggestions, any suggestions. And I'll have Cordy write down suggestions. We'll start there. Yes. Well, yes, please. State your name and address and sign your name.
Good evening. I am Mayor LaDana Londo from Penns Grove, New Jersey. And my address is 40 Delaware Avenue, Penns Grove, New Jersey. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So my suggestion and recommendation, and I've already started trying to look, is, of course, look for grants that may be available to us. And maybe, all the municipalities can get together and come up with, maybe a place that we can possibly build an animal shelter if we can somehow raise the money to get it. So that was the beginning of my thought. I know with the current administration right now, I know there's a hold on federal grants, but it doesn't stop us from looking. And maybe, if we can legally fundraise, it's an issue that's very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. I'm sure you've all been copied on the same emails that I've been copied on, and it's it's very important to everyone. So my thought is maybe we can do some type of fundraisers, and all these folks that have an interest in it, they can come together and work with us, and we can raise some money, and maybe we can get a couple of donors to do this. But I'm willing to be a part of that effort. So I just wanted to say that.
Good. I know there's a LEAP grant out there for shared services, which this would be. So that's one grant that's up to $400,000 that may be available to us. It's more long term because it doesn't come
overnight.
Now.
Yeah.
So we have short term and long term issues. I know Cape May County has a facility and they get $1 million donation every year from one person. Mm-hmm. So it's possible. But anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Mayor, welcome.
Thank you for having us. So my name's Cody, Positive Township. One of the ideas was floating around is possibly talking to Rowan at their vet school to possibly work in a shelter. You have the veterinarians already on staff, and you have students that are enrolled with veterinarian classes that possibly could volunteer. So it's a win-win situation right there. And I know it's a Gloucester County, but it's part of the overall South Jersey community. Maybe I put some feelers out there to the dean, some of the vets in the area, and shelter is actually part of the curriculum in veterinary studies. So that's something that maybe we can work out. I know that's not short term, that's a long term solution, but it's something possibly we can work on.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've had some discussion with Senator Burgess-Chai. I see Assemblyman Bailey is here, and he is also supportive, is working with his contacts at Rowan as well. But as you say, that's 2 to 3 years at best. They would be all over the care that will be necessary. I think that's a given. How much they'll participate in the shelter we'll have to see going forward.
A lot of smart people out here. Don? Where's Don? Yeah. Sorry to call you out, Mayor.
Yeah. Don Easton, Madison Township, currently the mayor.
You need a pen.
I may. This has been an ongoing issue. I've only served a few years, but I know there's been several efforts over the years to put together an idea for the county. And the last one that I remember became the Tajma kennel, and fell by the wayside because it became a concept that was not feasible for our particular situation. That's not to say a new idea couldn't, gain traction and come forward, especially as the needs going to continue to grow. I had a conversation today with the Voorhees Animal Control, and her indication to me was, no, we can't take you back. We cut you a year ago, you went somewhere else, found them. Now we've lost those. So she said, but we're going to have problems with all of Salem County. Her words exactly. So she didn't indicate any particular town. I didn't ask. Wasn't my business. But that's Voorhees is quite a ride away. We need to come up with, I think, a solution nearby, but a solution that size. What size do we really need? How many dogs, cats, whatever other animals the animal control officer may pick up, and they could probably tell us. But whatever would have to be their size, and of course, what kind of a facility would be the least cost and most cost effective for the needs that we then, determine by your committee or whatever. Again, it's a very difficult situation for a community like mine, where the average over the last, I did the numbers, my clerk and administrator did the numbers for me. We're averaging about 6 dogs a year. Some years it's 3 cats, and then one year we had 9 because a cat was brought there with kittens. But we still pay by the animal, so it's not really one of those things. But I'm not sure what other towns are doing. It's not something we've ever sat down and discussed at one of the roundtable meetings with the local government. Hey, how many dogs or cats you have? Until last Thursday. And we went around the table, at the table I happened to be sitting at, everybody seemed to say 6. And so, we were all small towns, so I don't know if wasn't anything that I would say, oh, this is the number. But I'm sure some of the bigger towns have bigger problems. Most of ours tend to be animals that are dropped off. They don't seem to be from the area that they're found in. But you have 38 square miles, 500 houses. You got a lot of open space that happens to be in agriculture, but still, it's easy to open the door in the evening and let it go. Anyhow, that's all I have. I don't have a solution, but I know it's an ongoing problem, and it's only going to exacerbate as we move forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. I was going to call on you now.
Hey, we talked about this at our meeting on Saturday. Ken Brown, Mayor of Farnings Point Township, New Jersey. And we talked about it would be nice if everybody got together and pitched in equally. We also suggested that if one of the towns has an empty building, and again, Don, you're right, we need to know how big it is, how many animals and so on and so forth, that they have ownership of that building, that they could throw that into the mix, and that would be part of their yearly thing until we got the, the price of the building. So price of the building was 8,000, and we were paying 2,000 each a year. Then bam, I can tell you, we paid over $40,000 last year, and we just had to put $100,000 into our budget this year that hasn't been announced yet to make sure that we have enough money in there for animal control because it's a big problem in our town. And what we have a lot is renters and just people that own homes, the transients or whatever. Uh, the apartment owner goes into the building and there's 3 or 4 dogs inside the building and the apartment's cleared out, the people moved. Or the dogs, if they're in a building, a home, the dogs and the cats are outside. And then you've got all these people in town that feed cats rather than trapping them and getting them neutered and spayed. There's places that does this for free. They don't do that. They just feed the animals. So you have these animals running all over the place. And unfortunately, I was talking to my wife last night. Animals have no idea if they're in Carneys Point or Penns Grove or Mannington. They just meander around wherever they want to go. So I'm sure that Don's got a lot of animals he doesn't know about. They're just out there hiding between the corn, in the fields out there. But we see them in the streets every day. Penns Grove's also, as LaDonna said, uh, Ladina, I'm sorry, said, these people just leave and the dogs are running loose. I mean, every day you see on Facebook, all you have to do is look on Facebook, Penns Grove, Carneys Point 1, and you'll see dogs. This one, tonight, some cat got away. Some lady said, if you see my cat, it got away. How'd your cat get away? Aren't you a responsible person? And I also think the laws need to be changed on the people. We traced one person up to Trenton that had a chip in the pit bull's ear, but that person has since moved out of Trenton also. So I think the penalties have to be stronger, legislation wise, on the people who abandon these dogs and just walk away. I mean, it's crazy. If they walked away from their children, would we not say anything about it? You know what I mean? So let's do something about this. And this is all long term. I don't think there's a short term solution because there's not a kennel that's going to take any of our animals.
We need to come up with a short term too. I think all the municipalities somehow,
Right.
solution.
I mean, I walked into the police station 2 weeks ago and our animal control officer had a pit bull in the cell, locked up in the cell. And I said, what the hell is the dog doing in the cell? And she said, where are we going to put the dog? There's nobody who will take it. It's not shot, no shots, nothing. We can't take it and put it anywhere. And we can't put it in our animal shelter that we have in our town because that's a 5014C or whatever it is. It's a volunteer animal rescue. Like, huh? 30 seconds. Yeah. Thank you. I'm done. I'm going to get out. But anyways, they're just my thoughts. If somebody's got a building donated, let's give it to them.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Pennsville, another big town. Huh? Sure.
Dan New, Pennsville Township, 37 Fordham Road, Mayor, our Township Administrator, Heather McManus. And I guess we're kind of unique in Salem County because we do have an animal shelter. We've had one for more years than I know. Up until about 3 years ago, primarily driven by volunteer staff, etc. There was another organization involved with it that helped with donations and things like that. That has all changed over the past few years. Where now we are staffing that. We have paid people. We do have some volunteers, but we have paid full time and part time. I've heard some good ideas about how can we get money to get donations. So I'll put it to you this way: we're usually running about $250,000 a year to pay or run this shelter. 20% of that comes from donations. All right, so you're talking approximately $50,000. So if you're talking, you can raise $10,000 to $15,000, you probably need to rethink that. But there's ways to get money. Our shelter seems to be adequate. There are times where we don't have enough dog runs in there, where we might have to group animals together, which is generally doesn't work out well. They cannot play well inside a cage. Cats can be a problem over time. It's up and down. Sometimes we've had over 100 cats usually spraying kittens. We have an adoption program where we collect fees to help us with our budget as well. Yes, sir.
Do you have room for expansion? In other words, you're sharing runs, do you have room for expansion, to add additional runs or more space
So
for?
right now, we have 9 runs for dogs, that's it, and a very small room, cat room. Is there room for expansion? There is, but it comes with a lot of concerns on our part. Having the full-time employees, and sometimes we have cats or dogs that are there for over a year, and our employees get attached. And then maybe it's a court hold, and the dog is vicious or mean, but nice because we're feeding. So there's a lot that goes on. I know I'm not answering the question, but what we're trying to say is that
We're
there's,
driving at, we have different facilities around the county, if there's room for expansion where the municipalities can partner with you and fund the expansion, because it's not your cost. But it's just an idea. These are
and
things.
the only reason I've said that, Director, is because there's just so much more to it. The answer is, do we have room to put up more buildings? Yes. But there's so much more to it than that. And you mentioned Cape May earlier. My first phone call when I took over as township administrator was to Judy, and put Judy in contact with Christine to try to find out best practices. And her employees were her number one concern.
And staffing is a big deal. It's a 24/7 operation. You can't, because it's snowing, somebody has to go. We have a buddy system that we go there by ourselves. Okay, someone could be hurt, we've had injuries from time to time, it's not what you want. We have a veterinarian that we have to pay. That's on staff. We have other programs where we're constantly, a spay and neuter program, where we go out and trap. Our ACO is here tonight, and she spends a good deal of time going out into town trapping feral cats. Okay, we get them spayed, neutered, and released. Okay, it's like trying to fix all the roads in Bennville. You can't get them all. Okay, so it's an ongoing thing. It'll probably be that way forever. And then there's the issue that there are people who like those colonies of cats, and they bring their food to them. And so that doesn't help the situation. But you tell them you're not allowed to do that. Okay, I believe that's against the law.
Yeah, we do have an ordinance,
But
but
we don't press.
we can't. They do spay it, they do neuter them, spay and neuter them, and take care of them. So they spend their own money on that. Some of the people in town.
But as far as space, I've never given it any thought. But again, in the past 3 years, we've come a long way. Just getting the staff right, because once you start, particularly with volunteers, they get attached to these animals. And if something happens, and we're a no-kill shelter, but there are times animals cannot be saved. They just can't be. And the veterinarian is the one who decides to put this down, not us. And, and when they get attached, sometimes they bring it to our attention like we're doing something wrong. And it can be, it's hard.
Or their friends on Facebook, friends to everybody. It's a hard balance. And one of the things about the veterinarian I'd like to add, and I see that the health department is in attendance, and they're aces for us. I mean, I can't tell you, we've had a big rabies outbreak this year, and that's been on Christine's shoulders also. So it's just not, housing these animals, but we couldn't find a vet. We can't find a vet in Salem County or Cumberland County to take care of our animals. We spayed and neutered over 600 cats last year, and we don't have anybody, no one, for multiple reasons. It's not necessarily our fault. I think that the ending thing was we had a horde situation where we took 30 cats out of a house that were close to dead, and our vet had to euthanize the majority of them, and that was it. She just couldn't anymore. And so it's not that easy even finding a veterinarian. We have one that comes and does the inspections, but for our everyday needs.
Have you looked at Rowan at all?
Well, that's what we're going to do for sure, but at this point, they're not open yet. So once they're up and going, it's on our plate. I think Christine may have already gotten some contact with them, I'm not sure.
And obviously at this point, we need to keep a tight rein on our budget for this facility. And I would say, I heard you make a comment before you started, that maybe form a committee to look at this. I'm assuming the folks here. I'm not saying we have a perfect model, but what we have works. We're constantly improving. We have SOPs that had to be written, or people just wanted to do what they want to do. Not anymore. We make sure they sign off on it. They know the rules. If they violate them, there's consequences. Okay, so we'd be willing to help out in that manner, but I wouldn't even know where to begin. There's just so much involved to run this organization.
But along the lines of Mayor Brown's, if you were to expand and become a collaborative center, it might defray some of those costs. If you have a model that works well and you're willing to share it with other municipalities for the kind of cost sharing that Carney's Point suggested, I think these are some of the ideas we need to pursue. Whether that works, I don't know, but we should be open to that sort of thought.
I would say, it was well before me. It was pretty much a volunteer organization, and municipalities, we did have a shared service with a number of municipalities, and it just got overwhelming, and we had no control. And that was some years ago that we just cut it off. We went it off by ourselves.
Certainly we're spending $50,000 a year on the volunteer operation. So if things change, those are all things we have to bring into the equation.
So, but there's just a lot to discuss. I think your idea of getting some folks together that we're willing to brainstorm, I think that's the first step.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mayor. Thank you. Get a tough job.
I'll get it to Stacy. Here's our year report next year from Christine, and the mayor spoke about this at one of the meetings. So just you can see. It's almost a little bit more difficult
If it seems like a good idea at the end of the meeting, I'd like to see if there's some volunteers that would like to serve on trying to come up with a long-term and hopefully a short-term solution. And like I said, that committee will work between now and the next 6 weeks and return here on the 16th of April with their recommendations and their thoughts. We'll convene again. We do have the Honorable Dave Bailey here. Dave, would you like to share anything with us, or you want to just listen tonight? Our Assemblyman Dave Bailey. Thank you, Dave.
Dave Bailey, Woodstown, New Jersey. We've had lots of discussions about this. I want to thank Commissioner Taylor. He and I have met over this topic. I've had this discussion with Mayor New. I've had this discussion with Mayor Ekus. Multiple mayors. I'm trying to think. I don't want to leave anybody out, so blame it on my head, not my heart, if I forget somebody. Just want you to know that Senator Bergelli and I talk about this often as well. And so we are here to support you. And any ideas that you have, heard some ideas come up even about changes in policy. Totally open to them. If there are changes in policy or rules and regulations we need to take a look at, let's take a look at them. Let's get a list together, and that's what we're there for, to look at policies. We don't provide services, but we can take a look at policy and better help this district and certainly Salem County. We want to, if we can play a role in this committee or play a role in looking at this plan and helping in some way, helping find additional funding on those lines. But it's been clear in these discussions that at this point it's seen as a municipal issue. We've talked tonight about Cape May. Atlanta County has a shelter program. Just to our north, Gloucester County. Gloucester County, just to give you an example, Gloucester County spends over $2.1 million a year on their animal shelter. They bring in revenues of $66,000. So it is a service that they provide. We have approximately one fifth the population. And I know we're talking about animals, not people, but if we just do that, and I'm looking over our CFO corner, and then we're talking about numbers. But if we just use it as a 1/5 number, and we take a look at that and break it down, and we base it off of that, it was interesting to hear that when I met with Mayor New and we were talking about that. I didn't recall the 250 number, but that's an interesting number that gets played out there along those lines. But again, Pennsville's telling us they're spending 250, they're bringing in 20% in donations. It's a service. They're folks. I think the number, and again, apologize, Mayor, if I'm saying the wrong number. I thought you said it comes out to about $40 a person in Pennsville. I thought that was the number was that the number were we talking about? All right, my apologies. Sorry, I don't want to mix apples with oranges. That's a totally different topic, but an important one. But what are folks willing for that service to be provided? So I just leave you with saying, we are here ready and at the ready to assist you, to assist the county, assist the municipalities as we move forward in this project in all these different endeavors. And so, again, I appreciate at least having a discussion and bringing people together because, again, most of you, where the rubber meets the road, you're the ones that are dealing with this on a daily basis and see it. I also want to give a shout out to Ned Shin. I mean, here's a guy that covers this entire county. And I don't think we give him enough credit, or I want to say from my standpoint as a citizen, not necessarily as an assemblyman, but as a citizen. Thank you, Ned. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Still open to anyone. Yes, Mayor Meshi, good to see you here tonight.
Ed Meshi, presently, Pittsburgh, presently mayor. I don't have an answer, but I don't understand how it happened so abruptly. We were paying about $3,600 a year for our county, and the state basically put them out of business. Probably didn't follow all the rules and regulations of the way you train. So somewhere, somebody's got to pay for it. What the rules were, I don't know. And they didn't make the dogs any better. Some of the dogs coming out of there are wonderful animals. Some of them should go on to heaven because they're worthless. I've seen people adopt dogs that are nothing but a problem. Bills on their way out, trying to keep them alive, not even worth anything as an animal. Sorry to say that because I'm a dog lover myself. Then we got a bill for the kennel went out of business. We were told that SPCA Environment would take us to $25,000 a year. Plus, that doesn't count the animals count, the money for the animals that they take in. That's just a bill. So we found a place in Voorhees, talked to the woman, got it for $500 a month, which is still a step up from $300. Now they don't even want us either. And here we are. So where did the problem come all of a sudden? This wasn't a problem 5 years ago.
I don't have a real answer, but someone had told me because of the COVID years, everybody brought animals in because they were home alone. Now they're going back. Now they're going back to work. They don't have time for their animals. I'm just guessing. That's
I don't know about that. That's possible. It's possible.
To give you an idea, last year there were 302 animals countywide. Already this year we're up to 230, and we're just in March. Wow. So it's growing.
So, that may be the reason. It might also be legislation. We got a lot of mandates. I don't know what they did to Ron's kennel. They put him out of business. Well, he didn't leave because he had too many animals. He left because he couldn't make a living. And he couldn't make a living the year before, so something happened.
Some of the shelters, you're actually right. Some of them put out of business because they couldn't fulfill the regulations that were put on. And some of them were good regulations, but.
And I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you do. Is this a universal problem? Is it all over? Is it all over the state? Is it all over the counties? I don't know.
I was told by Senator Bercatelli when I talked to him that it's basically 2 counties. Like Cumberland has the SPCA over there, it's SPCA over there. Different counties, but it's 2 counties. Maybe even some of the other counties, Sussex or one of the counties in the north, has a similar problem that we do.
Is it because we're a drop-off area? The first 3 dogs I owned when I moved out here were all drop-offs. They were animals we picked up off the street and raised, make good animals out of them. But that seemed to have ceased, at least in my small area. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you guys. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
One. Test.
It doesn't work. That's it. Yeah. 10. Okay. Leave the reports on.
Thank you, doctor. All right. So you want to take
So, Vaughn Gross, Salem City Council, and this is,
Hi, I'm Sean Brown, the Director of Housing for the City of Salem.
so we were just having a conversation in the back, and Sean brought up a point that this may be something that, since we have different municipalities, represented here, and aside from Pennsville, it doesn't seem like a lot of us are in a position to, make this happen. So Sean brought up a point that would this be more geared toward the improvement authority to find a location to perhaps build? And then, through some type of interlocal government agreement, the existing municipalities could, pay into running or, defraying the cost of operating the county.
Great idea. That's something we need to consider.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, you want to add something?
I mean, that was a pretty good summary. So
That's what I do.
yeah, see, yeah. This is a capacity issue. Let me just put some information on because I know the social media has had a lot to say. First, and I know you guys know this, but when budgets are done, no one is anticipating something like this. So there's no large pot of money that any municipality, any mayor has access to right now to solve the problem. Second, when the police or whoever get a dog, they have to do something with that dog, right? They can't kill it. They can't give it back to the owner. So there has to be a place for it to go. But that costs money on both sides. So the improvement authority idea is an option of it's a long-term solution, not a short-term solution, unfortunately, but one that has worked in other counties in New Jersey. And if you figure out the fee structure, we can even build it into the budget for next year. Thank you very much.
Long term.
Thank you.
Good ideas. Anybody know, how's Delaware hanging? I mean, is they
Yeah,
short term, is that?
I would just say our administrator, Ben, he reached out to 10, 15 places easily. And first, you can't, some say you can't cross state lines with animals. It's not legal. But I think if you ask everybody in this room how many people have been reached out to, I chased down an animal shelter van myself last week where I live in Camden, and he was aware of the problem and the reasons were already stated about the veterinarian and things like that, the issues that come along with it. But every animal shelter in South Jersey has been reached out to and asked if they will accept our animals from Salem County with all those.
Is there a facility called Lakeview or Lake something? Kennel or Lakeside Kennel? Is anybody reached out to them? Is that one? Somebody today had mentioned that. So. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Isabella Getz. I live in Carneys Point Township. I have some short-term solutions for this problem potentially. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay.
They can, we can.
What? You can, but they can't. Okay. So some short-term solutions, don't get me wrong, they might sound a little crazy, but have anybody in here been to Newark, New Jersey, up north? Anybody seen the town before, city? It's crazy, it's packed. They have a shelter. They have over 300 dogs in their shelter, and it's not great conditions, but they're just in kennels. They're in crates. I'm not saying that that's the long-term solution, but short-term, we need somewhere to put these dogs. And short-term, we do have multiple abandoned and municipality-owned buildings within all of the cities throughout the county. Now, these buildings can be used in the short term just to house these dogs, these cats, whatever they may be, in crates or kennels. Again, it's not going to be the most ideal situation, but it gets them off the streets, it protects our citizens, it keeps everything cleaner, and it gives them a place to go. From there, we have options to include the again, we talked about the Rowan University and trying to work with them to get CE credits for vet visits and maybe have their veterinarian program get course credits just for helping our shelters out and helping with animals that we have there. Also, in regards to taking out the animals, because if they're in just that building without land, these animals can be walked. They can be volunteers. Sure, we can maybe have just volunteers. Maybe eventually there could be paid employees that could work at these shelters. But there are a lot of people that are interested in, at minimum, just walking a dog. Some people don't want to own a dog right now, but they would like the comfort of it. Maybe they could come to the shelter, hand in their license, get like a quick check so that we got them checked out, and then have them, they could walk the dog, they can help us take care of them. It wouldn't just be a volunteer service, but it could be a community service to get people out, get people walking, have more community days, things like that. In regards to just animals in our towns, I know that dogs are supposed to be registered a lot of the times, and they're not. There needs to be a little bit more of a crackdown on this. I don't think we need to punish people if their dogs or their cats are not registered. I don't think that should be the first thing that we do. I think there should be a warning, there should be some information, but I also think that there should be yearly checks for microchips in our animals. Not only should all animals have a microchip embedded in them, that microchip needs to be updated every year, and I think that that should be something that we kind of, if we can, put it countywide, just to make sure that it's a constant thing that we're double checking. Whether they go to the DMV and they say, I have, I don't know, the DMV probably doesn't make sense, but somewhere, just somewhere that they could put that information in. Yeah, so the chips, the registrations, the CE credits for Rowan. Also, maybe there's a lot of people in the county that do actually have the ability to trap cats. They just don't know what to do about it. Maybe if we create a program where certain individuals that have the ability to trap cats and know how to do that, they can go around and do like maybe the TNR and bring it to somewhere that they can have that done. And maybe that community member could get some form of, I don't know, not a rebate, not money or anything, but just, some kind of appreciation for their service or their time, anything to kind of motivate people. Because I think that something that we're maybe not realizing is that even though this is a county issue and there's towns, every single member in every single community is going to be affected in this in some way. And I think that realistically, we all do want to work together and make a solution. So using the community and talking to the community and trying to find their the best way they can be involved would definitely help. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hi, Pam, sure, Animal Control. Fortunately for us, we cover Pittsburgh, only one town that's feeling this. But I would like to touch on her about what she was making a comment about the cats and the TNR programs. In Pittsburgh specifically, there was a group called Village Trappers that have come in and done TNDR for, I can tell you, hundreds of cats. So there are groups out there. There are facilities like AWA, Forgotten Cats, that offer discounted. AWA's $20 for a TNR cat. AWA's 20, Forgotten Cats is 50, 55, and even for our own cat, same price. Also touched on the licensing. So with us, we issue a warning first to the resident for them to comply. If they don't comply, then yes, it's followed up by a summons. As far as, I'm sorry, I remember his name was talking about why the shelters are no longer running because they're overpopulated as well. So it's not only, yes, COVID was a big thing, everybody got a dog, went back to work, final time for the dog. Breeding, backyard breeders, they kill us. Over dog limits, kill us. I mean, there's multiple things that are putting in, but the shelters don't want Salem County because they're trying to stay within their own county because there's too many animals, which is across the board. I mean, shelters across the United States are just overrun. Our rescues are overrun. We've had some instances where we've been able to find rescue pools. Is it ideal? They're not at a kennel, but they're safe. They're vaccinated, and they are on the 7-day limit. There's been a couple of rescues that have come up to Pittsburgh and have, pool dogs when residents have called them because we have no place to take them. So licensing, CMDR ordinance, short term, even if we can find a kennel lakeside and Sear Farm kennel, something has to give because these dogs, cats have to have a place to go. And God forbid, if there is another incident or someone's bit, we need to have a quarantine area. And unfortunately, we don't have that. And on top of that, if we do have to have animals seized through the helos, where do they go? Right now, they're remaining and suffering on the properties that are abusing them. So that's all.
see under Sheriff Peterson is here. The Sheriff's Department has had some input in the previous consideration. Do you have any wisdom to share with us, Mike?
Good evening, Mike Peterson, Quinton Township Sheriff's Department. The only thing, sir, that I could add to that for the benefit here this evening is that there was a presentation put together by the Sheriff's Office. It's quite old at this point. It's a 14-year-old plan. It's quite an extensive plan, and it does call for a county-run shelter. The plan itself incorporates almost everything that we heard here this evening, including county monies, including bill backs to the municipalities, including fundraisers, and including grant opportunities. At that time, that presentation at the time in 2010 was estimated to be $1.2 million for a startup, and significantly less, but still quite costly to run yearly. That said, with some of the checking that we've done from the Sheriff's Office, we put a request out to the 21 counties to ask how many do have county-run shelters. We received responses from 10 counties, and it's basically split down the middle. 6 counties have county-run shelters, 4 did not, and the only one run by the sheriff is the Cape May County. So I guess the point to that is to say that there is proof of concept, that this is done on a county level, and it's done to some extent. Almost half of the state is doing a county-run shelter. It is a costly endeavor, and it would take everyone here to do. It's not something that the county could take on its own. With that said, I would be happy to produce the original proposal. And yeah, I'm sure you probably have it right. Good. But obviously, I think it's something that structurally, from a kind of an outline standpoint, exists, but would have to be reworked. So, barring any questions, that's pretty much all I have for this evening.
Mayor? Mayor Woodstown?
I think we're hearing a lot of good ideas.
Yes, you support.
Maybe we should try to form a people who are interested in pursuing this. And not be too large.
Great. Michael, anything? Anyone else? The Mayor of Salem? Welcome. All right, now big question. Who would like to work with Cordy and one of the other?
Let's spoil it right up front. They don't want to do that.
All right. Thank you. You have some ideas you'd like to share now? Yes. What I'd like you to do is come up and right after the meeting, see Stacy, our clerk, give her the contact information. 6 weeks is not a lot of time to come up with some ideas, talk to shelters, talk to. Corey's going to have to do a lot of delegation and a lot of input. This is not an easy one to do. We need to come up with some short-term. Dave, our representative Dave, is going to have to. There might be some places we could put the animals that don't qualify as an animal shelter, but the alternative is to let them be wild. I don't know. That's where for a year can they, give us some grace on the requirements. I don't know. So
I think maybe we should ask Mayor Adu if you designate someone to be a consultant for this group since you're doing it. And supposedly well, and give us some input. Is that possible? I will happy to consult commission get me out. Be careful what you volunteer.
volunteers, committees are a terrible thing. If you get too many on it, it becomes unwieldy. But I'm thinking, if we get 6 to 8 people, even 10 is, good. Mayor Brown? Couple right there, raising their hands now. Animal control, that's even better. Ned? Did somebody invite Ned? Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
And some of the sheriff's department, your designation, just share the thoughts you had and get ideas.
Thank you for your input. If you get Chuck or you to come up, yes. Okay. Please see Stacy after we get the name and contact information. And I'm going to ask Ed, I think he's going away for a couple of days, but he'll be Monday, so first meeting is going to be next week. Has to be. We have to keep moving. If you have any other ideas, you can certainly go on our website, get my email or my phone number. My phone number's there. Give me a call. Give Cordy a call. Come up with your ideas. We need everything we can. The more people we get input on this, the better. Once again, I'll open up one more time. Anybody online? Nobody online. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. From the Commissioner Board, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. I have a motion second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Yes, you may. Thank you, everybody. It's a terrible night to be out there. Thank you.